What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome to my Earth build for Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Now, similar to the water build, this is a new game build that's intended to get you through the content and make your way up to New Game Plus. Very easy to put together, working with one of the beginner sets, in this case, working with Wan Yu's set. This is a very straightforward build. What I like a lot about this is if you're kind of struggling to get onto the core mechanics of Wolong, this is a build that is able to do lots of damage through its martial arts, as well as just kind of its basic attacks. You're going to do a lot of damage just kind of hitting on enemies. You're not going to be as concerned with having to play flawlessly. You can get a little spam happy with your martial arts if you want, which is nice. And all in all, it creates a build that's pretty fun to play, but also very, very strong. Back when I was actually deciding what I thought was going to be a better build for the walkthrough, this was the main consideration for this versus water. And the main reason I chose water is just because I like the amount of damage that it's capable of doing. But kind of as you're seeing, this build is very resilient. Even when we take hits, we're mitigating out a lot of damage, which is pretty big. Even an enemy that should be more resistant against my Earth, we can still do some decent damage to. And down goes the croc. So, similar to the other videos, let's jump in and take a look at the build. We'll go through stats, we'll go through the wizardry spells I would recommend, take a look at our divine beast, the gear and the affixes on that gear, and then of course we will do another extended gameplay cut, kind of just taking a look at what the build is capable of. Now, kind of as I mentioned, because this is an Earth build, it is another very beginner-friendly build. One of the main benefits of water is how potent its late-game spells are, and one of the main benefits of Earth is that it is a build all around sustainability. You're very strong, your deflects generate a ton of spirit, and you can wear some of the heaviest armor. So, taking a look at the build, 99 Earth is where we're going to be going. Now, as for other stats, metal being our secondary, we take that up to 40, and wood we go up to 13. But early on while you're playing this, wood is going to be a good bit lower. Wood is going to be probably around 3 or 6, just depending on what buff you prefer to use. Metal, I wouldn't really go past, I believe it's 15 or 12, whatever you need for toxic weapon. And you're going to be putting pretty much everything you have into Earth. Earth being our main, though, at 150, we're looking at a 99-40-13 split. Now, going on into the wizardry spells, one spell you're going to be using for pretty much the entirety of your playthrough is Imposing Slap. This does really good damage. You can spam it out, so when you're on top of bigger targets, this does very good damage, has very good stone application. Even against smaller targets that are approaching you, it does a good job of kind of creating a wall that will knock them back. And there's even a short duration that they'll last. They're not gonna decay instantly, as you can see. You have about 1.5 to 2 seconds, so you can even use it as a temporary wall for things that are charging at you. All around S tier spell from Earth. Moving on from there, Fiend Vanquisher is another one that I'm a really big fan of. Certain enemies you're able to lock down with this. It is a little bit janky at times because some enemies you'll slip on off, so if you don't like that and you want something safer, Lion's Roar is a very, very good buff. This is going to prevent critical blow damage right now. I don't know if that's supposed to do that or if it's a bug, but it does reduce damage that's coming in on you in general. Just very, very solid spell. You can't really go wrong with Lion's Roar. Now over here we have Venom Snare. Early on I was actually working with Toxin Weapon at 12, which is another decent choice, but Venom Snare is going to be one of the best applications of Toxin in the game. It does a ton of damage, and especially since we are playing as Earth and our main weakness is going to be wood, this helps us to cut out on wood damage that could be coming our way quite a bit. And then lastly, pulling from wood ourselves, a couple different buffs that are solid. I really like Absorb Vitality in this build because it's already quite tanky, but some other possible choices here. Inner Breath is a really solid go-to choice with this build. If you want to be even tankier, Guard Formation, and then of course Spirit Fervor you can't go wrong with. Now, taking a look at the gear, there are two early Earth sets we have access to, with Sky High Righteousness, which is Wan Yu's set, and Dauntless Warrior, which is Zhao Yun's set. Now, the main difference between these two is that this one is going to be more about spear damage, and this is going to be more about glaive damage, but personally, I think you're better off going for the Azure Dragon set in the long run. Unparalleled Spear is a great set, and it's actually the one I used myself for most of the walkthrough because I didn't bother having the time to level this one on up. But in general, I think this one's a better set. It's heavier, you're getting more defense. The glaive damage on it is 8.3 compared to 6.7. While this gains power gain upon deflection, this gets damage reduction upon deflection. So we have a lot more that is focused around making this a more tanky experience for the player, which is really kind of what Earth is about. Earth is about making you tankier. So in general, I like this set, but you can go with either of them. It's just keep in mind this one's much lighter. In terms of damage, this is scaling off of Earth and Metal, so kind of a no-brainer, whereas this one mostly going to be Earth, so you can see 613 compared to 656. Now we're going with Ice Enchant because enemies inflicted with ice are more vulnerable to Earth, Spirit Gain from normal attacks, and then Damage Amp upon martial arts. Over here, Spirit Gain, Spirit Damage, Spirit Vulnerability upon martial arts. On the gear, we are going to be looking at pure damage. Now the main reason for that is that glaive damage right here, this is considered HP. So we are also going to be looking for just damage dealt, and this is just going to be looking at more HP damage. It's going to help our attacks, it's going to help our martial arts, it's going to help our wizardry spells. And so we have damage dealt, spirit gain, damage dealt, spirit gain from deflecting, and spirit damage received just across the board. And it's just, like I said, very basic, just making us stronger and really focusing on kind of the core tenets of the game. As for our 2 here, slow upon deflecting a critical blow. We also have the obvious synergy, so when we deflect a critical blow, we get damage reduction, and we're going to slow the enemy, which is nice. And then over here on the crown, we have power drop upon fatal strike, which is nice. As for accessories, just really pick up whatever you can. There's no one real accessory that's going to stand out or be necessary for this build. But either way, let's jump in. We'll do a little side mission. Let's do... oh, which one's good? Tiger's Loyal Subjects. You could do that one with this, but that's an annoying mission no matter how you slice it. Massacre at Maywu. I don't remember which one Massacre at Maywu is. Let's do... oh, here we go. Let's go Escape from the Capital. We can do this one. Remember this one. This one we go up against 2 humans. This build does quite well. Yeah, back when I was prepping the walkthrough, there was a lot of consideration between either this or the water build. And ultimately I went with the water build because I really liked how devastating Ominous Chill was against so many different enemies. But this is a very solid build. You can't really go wrong with this. It has a lot of potential damage. In particular, the martial arts on both Wan Yu's glaive, that jump that you're watching us do, as well as the kind of spin to win we have with the Zhao Yun spear. Those are both very solid. As long as you actually get off deflects and you're not just taking damage. See, that attack typically would have like killed me. That's what I like so much about Earth. It's just very, very tanky. Oh, didn't mention it, but here I would suggest Tiger Hunting Blow. This comes from Sun Quan. This is just going to give you a bow that's going to scale with metal, so you're going to get more damage from this than you would either Flying Generals or any of the other bows that scale with water. So, otherwise, you know, same stuff that you have had on all your other gear until now. Also notice that we have a ton of spirit gain coming in anytime we get deflex, between the earth gain that we have, and then on top of that the just the spirit gain from deflecting that we have on this gear. We are up at a whopping 173.3 spirit gain upon deflect, which is huge. Basically you get a deflect and the spirit gain is just going to be outrageous. As for the two auxiliary stats, I think I didn't point it out, but I just have Divine Beast gauge gain here. You know, I mean, you can really put whatever you want in those stats. They're not terribly important. See, even kind of in the thick of it, fighting these two dudes, we're just... right in the middle of it. Both of those dudes attacking us, and we're just like, nah, I have too much defense. You should stop. You're not going to be able to do anything here. We can do the same, I know we did it last time, but I like this mission. This is just a quick one-off, like, we're gonna blow this thing up. Oh, look at that. Survived the critical. Not many builds survive a critical to the face from the monkey kick. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Earth build, it's a very safe playstyle, especially if you're struggling with like getting your deflects down. What's nice about this is it's going to incentivize it because you get so much spirit from deflects. You're going to take your time because one deflect is going to be worth almost double what a typical deflect would bring in. But even then, this build has so much defense that you could honestly just like hold block and you can mitigate a lot of the damage that's going to be coming your way. So either way, we're going to wrap this thing up. Up next, we're going to be bringing y'all the wood build and the metal build. So stay tuned and I'll catch y'all with those soon.